I'm super glad to be here. And you know what? I actually got to talk about dating last year. And some of the After Dark staff got to hear it, and they were like, "You got to do the same talk." So I get to do it again. I told my wife, okay? I'm going to talk about dating again. And seriously, guys, she was like, they couldn't find a better speaker. And I was like, I don't know. I think they like me. And she was like, are you sure? Are you sure it's just because you work in chapels and stuff? And I was like, I don't know. They could have asked a lot of people. And then I remembered one of my interns told me that there was a couple that actually formed out of this conversation. So that's kind of cool, right? Okay. And there were a lot of dates that happened afterward. That's kind of cool, right? Okay. And so, hey, if you guys pay attention today, you guys might be getting a few phone numbers, you know what I mean? All right? So, as we get started, is the couple that formed, are they here? Okay, they're not. Okay, cool. So, as we get started, I want you guys to look around the room, okay? Everyone look around the room, all right? Look around the room. It's not necessarily to check people out, okay? Just look around the room, all right? Just look around the room, okay? And as you look around the room, I want you to recognize a few things, okay? The first thing is there's probably about 600 different perspectives of dating in this room, okay? And the reason we do that is because we all have different desires, we all have different understandings, we all have different experiences, we all have different baggage that we bring into any relationship. So whenever we look around this room, we all have a different understanding of what we think dating should look like. And because we're all fallen people, we're all going to do dating kind of wrong. We're never going to do dating perfectly. But you know what? That doesn't mean we don't try. And it's a process that we learn and we grow through, okay? And that's why we look at the Bible, and we open the Bible, and we ask ourselves, what does the Bible have to say about it? Now, wouldn't it be cool if the Bible had a book called like Deuteronomy, and we were just open up to Deuteronomy 3, and we'd be like, okay, what do I do on my third date? And there is no book called Deuteronomy, okay, you people back there, all right? But there are a lot of principles that we can draw dating from, okay? So we're not actually going to open the Bible today, but a lot of the things we're going to talk about are principles from the Bible, and we're going to glean an understanding of what dating should look like, okay? And as I thought about dating, I realized that dating, like a lot of things, is shaped by our culture, okay? Books, right? Books like Pride and Prejudice. Any Mr. Darcy fans in here? Mr. Darcy, okay. All right, that row right there. Are you guys Tory students? Yeah, okay, that makes sense, okay. Sorry, it's just that's what Tory people, okay. All right, books, culture, right? Movies like The Notebook. Ryan Gosling, anybody? Okay. Rachel McAdams, okay. Or TV shows like The Bachelor. Okay, all right. I watch The Bachelor every Monday, okay. I didn't have to watch The Bachelor this year. My wife gave me a pass for this year. But I did watch one episode, it was about 2 weeks ago. And what I learned from that is you don't tell two different girls I love you, okay? You don't tell two women I love you. That's just weird, right? Don't do that, okay? But we get our cues from culture, okay? Culture helps define what we think of dating. And we look at dating and we kind of understand, and what we see on TV, what we read in books, what we see in movies, when things like that match up, we go, oh, that's what dating looks like. But again, today what we want to do is we want to kind of help the Word, the Bible, help form what we're trying to understand dating to be. When I talk to my single friends, I am 37 years old, okay? Literally, guys, last week, I went to the supermarket to buy some wine, okay? I'm old enough, okay? And the guy literally looked at my card for like 3 minutes, and I was like, I'm 37, okay? I'm 37. And he's like, is this really you? I was like, yes. Doesn't it look like me? Anyways, okay. I'm 37. I have people who are single, and they're 37. And you know what? In LA, I'm from LA, And in LA, it's a pretty normal thing to be single at this age, okay? And what they're telling me, though, is that they feel like romance and dating has become this ultimate way to express themselves. It's this ultimate way to feel worthy, to feel loved, okay? So what happens is a lot of them, they used to be Christian, but they've kind of faded away. A lot of them they go into a dating relationship, and in the dating relationships, on the second date, on the third date, they feel really pressured to do sexual acts because they feel like doing those things will help them feel more loved or help them feel more worthy or help them feel more attractive. They do different things because culture has explained what dating looks like now, and so we've adopted those things, and that has shaped the way that they look at dating. Notice with me, culture describes romantic love as the ultimate thing. That is the thing that is going to define who I am, my worth, my value. But it's completely out of whack with the Bible. It's got it flipped. Romance is not at the top, it's kind of at the bottom, okay? At the top, for us as Christians, we put our relationship with God at the top. Is that okay for me to say that? And that's the place we find our worth, our value, where we find loved, where we feel accepted, where we feel secure. And it's from that place where we feel loved and accepted and known and secure that we can actually invite other people into that relationship so they can feel loved, known, accepted, and secure. See, our first call is the greatest commandment. It's to love God and it's to have other people come into that relationship as well. Our second call as Christians is to develop spiritual community. Okay, we get to do that a little bit here, where we invite people to speak into our lives, we get to speak into other people's lives, and we get to generate this community, this spiritual body where we can grow together, where they could keep me accountable, I could keep other people accountable, and we get to speak into each other's lives, and we get to all pursue our first love. See, even under that, if God is the ultimate call, and we have a spiritual body, that's kind of our secondary call. Romance is actually under that. See, in our culture, we've got it flipped. Romance is at the top. And you know what? A lot of times, my friends, because romance is at the top, they tell me things like this. They say, it doesn't matter if my boyfriend is a Christian as long as he is a good person. Again, romance, the boyfriend, defines everything. That's first. Or we shouldn't judge a person by their religion, but how they are good to us or how they are good to me just because I need someone to love me. Or some of my friends say, hey, you know, our love, it crosses faith boundaries. Again, they place romance at the top. But again, our ultimate relationship defines spiritual body, and then romance comes way at the bottom for us a little bit. Now, with that in mind, and I know that a lot of us have that kind of perspective in this room, but here at Biola, we don't under-spiritualize dating like some of my friends in LA. I've heard that we over-spiritualize dating a little bit, okay? And what I mean by over-spiritualizing is that if you're on your first date at Heritage Cafe, your first question is, what's your major? And your second question is, when do you want to get married? Okay? Or over-spiritualizing is, you know, with all the ring by spring going on, right? There's a lot of ring by spring going on. I've been hearing a lot of ring by spring. Yeah, your roommate. Okay, there we go. Your roommate, huh? Okay, good for him. They've been dating for a while. All right, ring by spring going on. And you know what? Over-spiritualizing feels like maybe you feel a little FOMO. You feel like, oh, what? I want to get engaged, right? You know, there's like this over-spiritualizing, right? Fear of missing out, FOMO, okay? Yeah, sorry. Okay. We're getting to know, over-spiritualizing looks like this. If we're getting to know a person in dating, you know, we tend to overlook character flaws. We don't see the sinful patterns in the person. We don't see that they're chronic liars even. And we think we're called to unconditionally accept them. Now here's the thing, you know, when we're dating, we're supposed to accept people to a degree, but you know, we're supposed to unconditionally accept our spouses, but not necessarily the people we date. There is a process here that we're all called to. You know, over-spiritualizing on this campus, it looks like, you know, when something goes wrong in a relationship, we take that as a sign that something is wrong with our relationship. That's not necessarily it. Or you know what? Over-spiritualizing looks like when you want to break up with someone, you say, hey, you know, I prayed about it, and God told me to break up with you, okay? And we tend to over-spiritualize things sometimes, okay? And I've heard on this campus that if you're dating or even married, those people are somewhat more godly for some reason than other people who are single. And that is not really true. So look, we have 600 different perspectives of what dating looks like in this room. And we all tend to under-spiritualize or we all tend to over-spiritualize, okay? But dating at its core, okay, it's just about getting to know somebody. Is it okay if I say that? Okay? Dating at its core is simply about getting to know somebody. So we're going to try something. Is that okay? You guys all want to try something with me? All right? We're going to try something, okay? And we're all going to go on a big, massive speed date with each other. Is that all right? Okay, here we go. All right? And the reason I want to do this big, massive speed date is because I want to take a lot of the stigma and all of this under-spiritualizing, over-spiritualizing. We want to take that out of the equation, okay? Recognize that you have desires coming into it. You have expectations. You have different experiences. We all have our stuff coming into a relationship. But we want to take that out of the equation a little bit. And you know what? Dating at its core is simply about getting to know another person, okay? So we're going to practice this today. Is that okay? Before we continue, I'm going to ask up Annalyn and Brandon to join me. Come up, guys. Okay? All right. Hey, guys, this is Brandon. Everyone say hi. Hi. And this is Annalyn. Hi. They're dating, okay? But that's not really the point here. They are going to model what speed dating could look like. Is that okay? Now, this is what I'm going to do. Here's a few questions for you guys that you guys could ask on your speed date as you guys go around the room, okay? Here we go. There we go. Ready? Here we go, Brandon. Brandon, pick a question, okay? And pretend you don't know Annalyn. Okay. All right? And ask her something and see what she says. And just get to know her.
Hi, I'm Brandon.
Hi.
Oh, nice to meet you. What's your year?
Software.
Oh, cool. What's your major?
Psychology.
Oh, cool. Where are you originally from? I don't know why you're laughing right now. Oh, okay. Cool. We good?
That was good, right? That was good. Hey, this is speed dating. I mean, you know, it's not really that deep yet, okay? All right, Annalyn. It's over here, too, if you want. It's right there. Feel free to ask him whatever you want.
So, what do you like to do when you're not studying? Do you have any hobbies or favorite things you like to do?
What's so funny?
I love reading the Bible in my spare time.
Oh, really? So, does that have to do with like your dream job? So, what do you want to do after you graduate?
I'm a business major, so I'd love to, go into something in marketing, bring that Bible stuff into my job.
That Bible stuff?
Yeah, the word that I'm taking.
The word?
Yeah.
So, are you in the word pretty often?
Yeah, pretty often.
All right. Everyone give it up for them. Thank you, guys. It's hard to do that, okay? Thanks, Brandon. Okay. All right. Hey, so you know what? We're all going to go on a big, massive speed date, okay? So everyone stand up. Stand up. Go find somebody and ask one of these questions. Is that okay? Ready? Go for it. All right. Hey, so you know what? Let's talk about a few ground rules because I want you guys to all start dating. Is that okay? All right? So let's talk about a few ground rules as we start dating on this campus, okay? First ground rule is this, okay? If someone asks you out, you don't necessarily have to be attracted to them to say yes. Is that okay? Is that okay? Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay? Do you know why? Because dating is about what? Getting to know the person. That's right. Okay? On the other side, okay? If you want to get to know someone, guess what you can do? You can go ask them to coffee at Common Grounds. Yes or no? Why? Because dating is what? Getting to know someone. Hey, what if we normalize dating around here to be simply getting to know somebody else. That'd be kind of cool, right? Instead of all this over spiritualizing and under spiritualizing. Now, don't get me wrong. The end goal of dating, it's going to be marriage, okay? And the way that we look at marriage is going to help define the way we should date, okay? But at the beginning stages of dating, you're simply getting to know somebody. You're not going to marry the person after the first date, okay? At least not in the modern world, okay? And you know what? There's a progression where you date a little bit, and then it becomes a little bit more intense, and then it becomes even more intense. And in this whole process, you give a little bit more of yourself and a little bit more of yourself. And then when you have this ultimate trust and this ultimate covenant in marriage, that's when you can give yourself fully to the person, okay? See, I have a friend online, and she dates, and she has 2 criteria. If I'm not repulsed by him and I'm not scared of him, I will go on a date with him. Now, you know what she's doing? She's trying to get to know the other person beyond the photo on the online dating website, right? I don't know if you guys do online dating, okay? I've never done online dating, okay? I married my wife about 9 years ago, and that was before like coffee meets bagel and all this other stuff, right? And so like she's on the stuff, and she realizes people put up their best pictures, and it's from like 5 years ago, right? And so like she's like, when she goes on a date with these people, she's like, that's not really you anymore. So like, who am I supposed to get to know? So she doesn't even look at the picture anymore. As long as that picture doesn't repulse her or make her scared, she will go on a date with this person to get to know who that person really is beyond the photograph. See, deep down, God is cultivating in her heart an opportunity to care for another person. She just has to take that first risk to go on that first date. So, if I were to break down the Biola ground rules a little bit more, okay, we're going to have a red light, okay? And what a red light is, don't date, okay? We're going to have a red light. We're going to have a yellow light, okay? Yellow light means go on lots of dates, okay? Yellow light. That sounds a little weird, but yellow light is like go on lots of dates, okay? And a green light, okay? And green light means you're going to date exclusively a person. Is that cool? Red light, yellow light, green light. Does that make sense? Okay? Red light, okay, first. Do you guys remember like what comes first, our relationship with God? If we are not committed to spiritual maturity, I would say get that in sync first, okay? So be at the red light for a while. You got to get that in sync. You got to commit yourself to spiritual maturity, because what that does is develops character in you, and that character is what's going to drive any relationship, okay? So you got to get that figured out first, okay? The second thing is, you remember after the relationship with God, it was our spiritual community, right? Develop that spiritual community so that they can tell you if you're dating the wrong person or if you're dating the right person. And let them into your life even more so that they can know you, so they can have access to so that they can speak into your life a little bit, okay? So if you don't have a developing community, you don't have to have a perfect community. You don't have to be perfect in the way that you approach God either. But if you have a commitment to spiritual maturity, and if you have a developing community, okay? Cool. If you don't have that, I would seek that out first. That's for yourself. Secondly, red light. Hey, if they're not a Christian, I see this more and more, okay? If they're not a Christian, they just have different priorities. Okay? They have different loves in their lives. Our love is really about who God is and how he's come to love us and accept us and know us and make us secure. But as non-Christians, they have very different priorities. Okay? The Bible also says not to date them. Okay? We were not supposed to get married to them. 1 Corinthians 6:14. I'm hearing more and more that that's kind of a problem on our campus, actually. Okay? But that's a red light. Okay? If I could make a ground rule. Okay? Also, maybe you're in a relationship, but there's abuse. Maybe it's physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. Hey, you don't have to be in that relationship. Get out of that relationship. Red light. And finally, if you're looking at another person and they have character issues. Now look, we're all messed up, okay? We all have character issues. But you know what? If this person has a track record of character issues, and if this person has, I would say 2 main things. Number 1, if this person just keeps lying. Because what's a relationship? A relationship is built on trust. And you can't really build trust with someone who lies over and over and over, yes? Okay? So if that person keeps lying, I would say that's a huge, huge red flag. And the second thing is if the person is really emotionally unstable and just bursts into anger a lot, okay? That would be a red flag as well, okay? So red light, don't date if you're not ready, if you're not committed to a spiritual relationship with God or a spiritual community, and if you see these things in other people. Cool, red light? All right. By the ground rules, right? Yellow light, dating people. In fact, what I will say is this. If you're not dating someone exclusively, I will challenge you to go on 10 dates with 10 different people before you exclusively date somebody. Now, I just see a lot of faces. Let's say 5, okay? So I will challenge you to go on 5 dates, okay? Before you exclusively date someone. 5 dates. You know what that does? It helps me understand who I am. It helps me understand what I want. It helps me understand what I'm made of. It helps me shape my understanding of God and myself. And you know what? It also helps me understand who other people are like. It helps me learn to listen. It helps me try to understand where the other person is coming from, to be compassionate. Guys, if you can, go on 5 dates, okay? You get to carefully observe people, okay? You're looking for 3 things when you're dating people, okay? By the way, just to define dating, we're not talking about dating as like Netflix and chill kind of dating, okay? Right? Dating is what again? It's getting to know another person, okay? All right? So we got 3 things you're really looking for. You're looking for physical compatibility, you're looking for emotional compatibility, you're looking for spiritual compatibility, okay? Physically, eventually, are you attracted to the person? Can you become attracted to the person? Emotionally, can you learn to trust this person? Spiritually, can you learn to walk with this person in your relationship with God? Can these 3 develop over time? And in this process, what you get to do is you get to discern and you get to have space to say, you know, I think I would like to date this person a little bit more. I think I would like to date that person a little bit more. And you could continue a relationship as you discern your compatibility issues in your physical, emotional, and spiritual aspects of yourselves. All right? So we had red light, don't date. We had yellow light, 5 dates before exclusively dating, okay? And then now we got green light, okay? Green light, you're exclusively dating and you're only dating one person, okay? This is the, I like you, you like me, let's go steady, okay? So we're gonna do this, okay? I'm gonna say if you're in this stage, there are 5 main principles to help guide you, all right? 5 main principles, okay? The first is this, okay? Liminal more than complete. So I made these little equations for you guys so you guys could have a little, okay? Liminal more than complete. I'm going to throw some big words at you, some really old words, okay? Liminal means the in-between space, okay? Guys, dating, you're not really friends and you're not married. You're in this weird in-between space, okay? Guys, you know, I don't know about you guys, I hate in-between space. I like black and white, and I don't want to be stuck in this weird, like, gray area forever. But that's what dating is. It's an in-between space that you're learning to give to each other little by little, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. In-betweenness is something to be embraced here. Doesn't mean that on date 1, you have to talk about marriage. That might be date 105, okay? But on date 1, you could simply talk about those questions that were up there. Date 1, date 50, you might want to get a little bit more. You might want to talk about your parents and some of the things that you experienced growing up, etc., etc. Little by little, it's a process that you get into. If we go too fast physically, emotionally, or spiritually, what happens is we get entangled to the person and we think the relationship is more than it is. So embrace the in-betweenness, okay? Second principle. Because we're in this in-between liminal space, clarity is more important than intimacy, okay? as you keep dating, you can open up toward intimacy, but again, not on date 1, maybe not even on date 10, okay? And marriage, again, is the full expression of that intimacy. But dating needs to primarily be about clarity. See, we desire intimacy over clarity because we think intimacy will make us feel more attached to the person. Again, we're trying to entangle ourselves to the person to make us feel a little bit more loved, feel a little bit more secure, and worth something. But clarity in the dating process, it allows me to communicate well, it allows me to understand who the other person is, and it allows me, again, to discern our compatibility issues. Do I really want to marry this person in the long run? Keep talking about where you are and your expectations. That is something we get to talk through in a dating relationship. That person gets to know you in a very deep way that not a lot of other people do. Clarity is more important than intimacy in dating. Third, temperance more than expression, okay? Temperance is about the direction of your desire, okay? So athletes, right, they have all this athletic ability, okay? And they're tempering their athletic ability to shoot a basketball, to hit a tennis ball, or catch a football, okay? They use their athletic ability, they temper it to do certain activities. Guys, we have all these desires in us, okay? And these are good desires, whether they're physical desires, emotional desires, or spiritual desires. But we temper them toward the end of our dating relationship and, again, ultimately into marriage. And the reason we do that is because we want to honor the other person. We want to understand who the other person is. We don't want to entangle too fast and trick ourselves into thinking it's something more than what it is. Fourth principle, modesty more than exposure, okay? Modesty is the appropriate expression of yourself. You know, physical modesty, it's about how you portray yourself. It's not about how much skin or how little skin you're showing, but do you dress appropriately to show who you really are, okay? Emotional modesty. You know, you don't have to overshare on the first date. You don't have to overshare on the second date, not even on the third date. Maybe you have to overshare after a while. You got to share after a while, but you don't have to overshare until you're ready. But you definitely have to test the waters and share. But emotional modesty is super important because, again, at the emotional level is a place where we get super entangled with each other. And spiritual modesty, okay? You know, even if God said, hey, Mike, you're going to marry that girl, I shouldn't tell her that, okay? The reason I shouldn't tell her that is because that person, that girl, is going to feel super entangled to that statement. Because I wasn't practicing spiritual modesty here, right? Or if someone were to say to you, hey, you know, I had a dream and a vision, and, you know, I saw my wedding day, and you were on the other side. Like, no, you know, spiritual modesty, because again, it entangles us and makes us think that the relationship is a lot more than it is. What does modesty do? It allows us to get to know the other person. It allows us to discern if this is a compatible thing. Fifth, boundaries more than freedom. Again, physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, spiritual boundaries, okay? You know, growing up, I had automatic boundaries, okay? When a girl would call the house, you know, my mom would pick up, because she picked up the phone all the time, and she would say, Micah, right? That's my mom voice, okay? Micah! And she'd say, a girl is calling, right? And I'd be like, okay, right? And then I'd get the phone, okay? And I'd make sure I'd get the phone that my mom picked up. Okay, this is landlines. You guys know what a landline is? Okay, just making sure. Okay, so then I would pick up the landline that my mom was picking up, and every time I would talk to the girl, and, you know, we're just hanging out a little bit. And then I would always make sure to hear for the click on the other line. You guys know what I'm talking about? Because the click on the other line means my mom's listening in, right? So I'm always listening, and I'm always listening. See, I had automatic boundaries because I couldn't have a conversation unless I was on the landline, and I would always, my mom was like this automatic boundary for me, right? But you know, for us, you guys got Snapchat, you guys got Instagram, you guys got your own self. Like you guys have instant access, right? Just because we have instant access doesn't mean we have to exercise that. We can put up boundaries. You know, another thing is if a girl would come over to my place, right? I had automatic boundaries. My mom would sit on the sofa and she would never leave. And I'd be like, hey, Mom, can we just watch TV? And she said, no, I'll watch with you, right? I know on this campus, there are certain automatic boundaries like, hey, you know, there's only guys on the floor at this time and girls on, right? There's certain automatic boundaries. But again, in our culture, we could find ways around boundaries if we want. But hey, in dating, boundaries are super, super important because again, it helps us focus on getting to know the other person at a deep level and discern if this is a compatible thing. What's dating for? Dating is about what? Getting to know the other person. It's about developing trust physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's about discerning compatibility. Hey guys, if there's one thing that I would love, okay, is that I would love to normalize dating on campus, right? Dating has this weird stigma, right? Oh, you're dating that person? Oh, when are you guys gonna get married? Right? It's like weird, right? Oh, you're dating that guy? Did you guys talk about your baby names? It's like, no, don't, right? It's like, that's a normal conversation on this campus. But what if we were to normalize dating on this campus to simply getting to know each other, okay? If you guys want, okay? If you guys want, we got a hashtag here, all right? I invite you guys to go on your 5 dates, 10 dates, 5 dates, whatever you want. Take a picture. Can you guys help me normalize dating around here? Yeah? Okay. Biola dating. Is that cool? Let me pray for us.
Biola University prepares Christians to think biblically about everything, from science to business to education and the arts. Learn more at biola.edu.